Welcome to StaarCast, a show about tarot, divination, and all things mystical. StaarCast is a celebration of StaarCon, the Southeastern Tarot Artist and Readers Conference. I'm Amy Mauser, and here's your host, Christiana Gaudet.
Welcome everyone to StaarCast. With me today is Mary Ellen Collins. Mary Ellen was a presenter at StaarCon 2021. She will also be presenting at StaarCon 2022. One great thing about Mary Ellen is she is multi-talented, does a whole bunch of different stuff, and she has a fun thing to share with us today. Welcome, Mary Ellen. How are you?
I'm good, thanks. I'm excited to be here. I'm glad to be talking about StaarCon. I know it's a ways away yet, but that's, to me, the beauty of something like this. Just the whole energy of looking forward to it and anticipation, and our community getting together and working on what we do so well. You know, really, I was thinking about conferences yesterday because I signed up for an astrology conference, and I was thinking about how they connect us. There's so much more than just what you learn. You meet people. You see someone else in action, reading the cards. You learn something different that you didn't know before. In fact, a little bit of what I'm going to share today, I learned some of the basics at a long ago Reader's Studio Tarot Conference, and it just grew from there. So we're planting seeds today.
That is
Taurus, perfect for the day after Earth Day.
That is fabulous. Yes, indeed. We're recording this on, I hadn't even thought about that, on April 23rd, which is the day after Earth Day. That is wonderful. And of course, we want every day to be Earth Day.
Yeah, well, that's becoming more and more critical than ever, you know. But hey, what's a better representation of Earth Day than crystals, which is what we're going to focus on this morning.
Absolutely. That is wonderful. And I just want to let people know, too, you're one of our local tarot people here in Florida. You are in West Palm Beach. And of course, the local version of StaarCon 2022 will be in Palm Beach Gardens. So you'll be teaching in person, won't you?
Yes, I'm excited about that. I think it's so Aquarius that not only are we going to be doing it in person, and I'm looking forward to that energy, but it's going to be connected with doing it virtually as well. So I don't care if you live in Timbuktu or you live up in Hobe Sound. This is accessible. Looking forward to that part too.
Absolutely. So are we. We were really pleased and surprised that StaarCon 2021, even though it was all virtual, really felt community. We enjoyed each other. We met people. We had fun as if we had gone away. It was an amazing thing. So being able to bring those two energies together, the in-person and the online, I think it's just going to be amazing. And of course, even for those going in person, they're going to have the online advantage of being able to access recordings of all the classes for 30 days.
Right.
And we'll have the meetings in the lounges. We're actually going to pre-schedule lounge sessions for after the fact. So we will have meetings in the lounges. So there's even going to be new classes going on for those 30 days after. So it's like the conference is 3 days, but it's really 30 days.
Oh, wow.
Right.
That's really that's big because,
Yeah.
you know, that is one of the aspects I like about the virtual, being able to go back and scoop it up and, you know, because we'll have several different presenters at once. Right. And you can't go to all of them. We can't clone ourselves. So being able to access them all is great. But actually adding on to that, wow, that's a value-added package. So
we want to add value. So Mary Ellen, before we get into what you're going to teach us, would you just tell us a little bit? I've just described you as the multi-talented Mary Ellen Collins, but tell us what those talents are.
Okay, well, you know, I actually describe myself as a life path messenger. And that can be connecting you to the energy of higher self, whether I read your cards, read your crystals, which we're going to play with a little bit about how to do that today. I have a super fun oracle called the Charm Oracle that's gaining popularity in the world of divination. I'm also an apprentice astrologer. I'm getting to the place where, look out, I'm ready to do charts really, really soon. But in general, I just am enamored of the whole idea of divination. And I really perceive it like, yes, we're fortune tellers in that I believe that we can peek around the corners of, what's going on. But what's so critical is the energy of what's going on right now, the power of the present, right?
Right. Absolutely.
And so as tarot readers, as rune readers, as any reader of anything, a system of sortilege, it's defined in the dictionary as the practice of, using objects to read the future. I say it's more critically reading the present energy so I can know how to have the best possible future.
Oh, that's brilliant. So well said. So well said. So one of our missions of StaarCon is really good education. We really want to help people learn wherever they are on their journey. We want to present a wide scope of topics and really quality education. And we have asked you today to give us a snippet of quality education right now. So take it away, Mary Ellen. What can we learn today?
Okay, well, one thing that you can either learn or you probably are already aware of is that the secret is you're the oracle. And it doesn't matter what tools you use. If you're looking at the stars, if you're casting bones like our ancient ancestors or the crystals like we're going to play with today, it's all about devising a system that helps you go into that space, that sacred space where we can see what we need to see. And for learning how to create your own oracle set, there's a series of steps that I would like to suggest. And the first thing is the fun part, collecting crystals. I mean, this all started for me because I was doing tarot readings in shops, and they always are selling mass quantities of crystals, but especially including lots of the tumbled crystals that are all basically of a size. And I know many people, a few of you might be seeing the visual version, but you see like a small 1-inch size of a crystal or what have you. And about 15 years ago, I attended a conference where I learned about reading stones. My friend Franny, she had basically collected rocks and stones from her yard, from the riverbed nearby, from all around. And they were different sizes and shapes and colors. And she assigned meanings to each of them based on how they looked to her and how they felt and that sort of thing. And that was her system that she used to read. So I took that a step further and I thought, these beautiful colored crystals that we see in the shops and that we collect, there are many, many uses for them. Healers like them. They're great for affirmation or meditation. But what about divination? So I, over time, began to collect crystals and become familiar. They became my primer for basically learning about crystals. I'm like, well, what is the energy of rose quartz? And there's a couple of different ways I would suggest that you could do that. After you collect crystals, I would then say, spend some time getting to know them. And one way, of course, is there are lots of great books out there that list the metaphysical meanings of crystals, their healing uses, and that sort of thing. And that's a wonderful resource. And certainly I've learned a lot about some of my crystals that way. But one of the ways that I think is really useful for learning about your crystals, whether you're going to use them for divination or anything else, is just to spend a little time with them, connect with them energetically. It's all about energy. Everything that we're using here in this world, this physical world, and our world of divination is all about being able to navigate the, eddies and streams of physical energy. So you could literally follow a little process where what I do sometimes is I'll like take a crystal and I'll put it in my left hand because I'm right-handed. So I consider the left hand to be the hand that you're receiving with. I'll put it in my left hand, close my eyes, and concentrate on, what comes next. How does this crystal feel? Does it feel heavy? Does it feel light? Did a song pop into my head? Did I get some kind of visual energy? Is this starting to sound familiar? Right? It's very much like how we read the tarot. Mm-hmm. We look at the card and we connect with its energy. Not always the same way, and we can have many, many different meanings for the same card. And I think that goes for crystals as well. And what I would say is that over a period of time, you're going to accumulate your own lexicon of what the crystals mean for you, because you are the oracle. And that can be like, okay, I really just picked up, this particular crystal, and I didn't really have a sense of what it is. So I looked it up in the book, and it, that's how I came up with its meaning. Or you connected with it, you found it really soothed you or calmed you. And I will say too, if you probably, those of you that are already in love with crystals or work with them, you know how it is. You can be, I was with my sister in a crystal shop up in Arkansas. Not surprising to find a crystal shop in Arkansas where many crystal formations are. But anyway, she picked up a Sodalite and she's like, oh my gosh, can you feel the buzzing of that energy? And I'm like, oh, let me see. And I put it in my hand and it was calm and soothing, right? So just so you know, like it's going to be your experience. We're like snowflakes, no two alike, but you'll connect with it. And over time, you'll have a certain amount of, confidence that you know what that crystal is going to mean when it shows up in a reading. So once we do that, we collect our crystals, we have assigned meanings to them, or we connect with the energy of what they mean. The next thing to do is to do readings with them. And the way I do that is I literally cast them. I suggest maybe having a small casting cloth to cast them on. For one thing, they're crystals. I don't want them to bounce off of glass or something hard, But another thing too, if I have a small enough casting cloth, one of the things that happens once I toss the crystals out is I'm going to look to see if there's a pattern, a picture that forms from how the crystals fell. And, maybe it looks like a bird. Oh, you're getting ready to take flight, To me, that's going to suggest a sort of an overview or a general energy of the crystal reading. And then I will read it in a certain order, whatever. This part's a little hard to relate. And, of course, if you take one of my crystal classes, I can go into more detail about that. But to me, there's going to be a natural starting place. If you don't see, like maybe it's in a spiral and you see that it starts right here and you start reading the crystals in this order. When all else fails, I have a tendency to, in my mind's eye, superimpose a little heart of the layout of a Celtic cross spread. Picture that in your mind's eye, my tarot readers, right now. You're going to see like the center, you'll see, the issue at hand, a crossing card, what challenges. Below is what supports or our foundation. Above is what crowns, connection with higher self, if you will. To the left is recent past or past, far past, depending on what, how you read it. And to the right is near future. So when I'm not really seeing a pattern or I don't really have a sense of where it starts, I literally just kind of go from the bottom to the top there. What is the foundation? Oh, okay. This carnelian fell on the bottom foundation. This is a second chakra crystal to me. Very, very high creative energy. So I think that the next bit of time for you is going to be, influenced by period of creativity. So then after that, you look at the next crystal, maybe several crystals in your oracle are all green. And you happen to pull all the green crystals. And at this point in time, let's liken that onto the energy of pentacles. It's green, you're growing. I always say pentacles are what we manifest on the earth plane in terms of abundance, whether that's money, health, or well-being, right? And it's very similar to me in how I read my crystals. So we get a whole lot of green crystals. There's growth, there's abundance. There's a focus on health, maybe. It just depends on the general energy of your reading. And so you just follow, whatever way that makes sense to you. And the thing that I really like about crystals is that in addition to being something we read to perceive the energy that is, crystals, being of a healing nature, can also be their own prescription. So if I have been struggling a little bit with emotional clarity, and I get like an aqua obsidian, which I read as, a need to obtain, emotional clarity, then I can say, that's what we focus on. So it tells me what to do or what to tell my querent that's getting the reading. So that's just kind of the general energy of it, giving you how to read crystals 101 in a nutshell. But I thought it would be fun to kind of play with it. So you're going to have to do the hardest part, Christiana, how hard this is. People like coming up with a question when it's just you and me, that's one thing. But when, it's a number of people that, you're in public or there's 12 people in the class or what have you, it's like, let's see, what question do I want to focus on?
Well, go ahead.
So, but go ahead. Do you have an idea?
Okay, of course. Let's talk about StaarCon 2022.
Okay.
Of course.
So, and then of course, what I generally do, just so that you know, is that I have the person hold the crystals. I have them make a selection. It kind of depends on whether or not they know crystals. If they know crystals, I have them close their eyes because I want this to be kind of random, and I'll have them select a number of crystals and I will have them select an uneven number. And that's a sort of a very, if you get interested in this whole art, lithomancy, it's called. There are many books written by it and people that have been doing it. Frankly, let's face it, it's probably been around, since mankind and crystals, which, way, way predates, paper tarot cards, right? But anyway, you pick them up, and I asked them if you could just to put your life energy, pretend you could put a little shot of your life juice into it and then toss it out. And then I look for my pattern. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to close my eyes and I'm going to, you're driving. Okay. So see this hand, this is your claw. Like when you go to the carnival and the claw goes and picks the prize. So you direct me to what crystal. Okay. Crystal number 1. Got a carnelian. We're going to do 3. Ready for next one? Mm-hmm. And this is Sodalite. Clear quartz crystal. All right.
Right.
So isn't it interesting that we got that carnelian? It just randomly wants to show up today. Lots of creative energy showing up here. We're on fire, girlfriend.
Yes, we are.
So let me toss that out. And I will describe to you that literally they fell in a line, a perfect line all together, with the Sodalite to the left, recent past, in the middle, clear quartz crystal, the issue at hand right now. And in the near future, that creative second chakra carnelian. We're birthing something, right? So let's talk about Sodalite. It's known as a stone of peace. But in general, for me, I see it as a crystal that talks about second chakra energy. Throat chakra energy, the energy of communication, and particularly in groups. Wow, how perfect is that?
Wow.
StaarCon 22, the essence of a vehicle for communication in groups, right? And so that's recent past. That's just kind of where we're at, even kind of where we're at right now.
Mm-hmm.
We're starting to communicate about it. We're talking to one another, all of our friends getting excited and planting the seeds. Now, clear quartz crystal, Melody, who in the 70s, she was a scientist who wrote Love is in
Love
the
is
Earth.
in the Earth. Yes.
There's actually even a tarot deck that corresponds to that book. But she wrote a very scientific book about all the, physical properties of the, like if you're a geologist or, into the science behind it, all of that is there. But she also wrote about all of the metaphysical properties, what tarot card it corresponds to, what numerology it vibrates with, so on and so forth. I mean, we're talking, it is a tome. And if you're into crystals, I would suggest you try to find a copy of this book. It's out of print, but you may be able to still find it out there. But she said that clear quartz crystal is a master crystal. It is like the best. It is the top. And she says that it brings the energy of the stars to Earth. And StaarCon, how cool is that? We're bringing the energy of the stars to Earth. And the stars are all, us, the stars, the flowers, all that is, this is what we do. We connect with it. We help our clients connect with it. This is what we're all about. And I have absolutely no doubt in my mind that this will be another eminent gathering of people who are masters at what they do and can share with us. And then, of course, the beautiful, I just love this energy, the fact that we're giving birth to something new. This is going to be a conference really kind of unlike any other that's ever been there. Right. And there are other conferences in the world that are doing it virtual because we all had to kind of, move in that direction. Although I think, tarot is like, you were there first with the tarot, but we're creating something new. And with, some of the major planets that just shifted into Aquarian energy, that makes perfect sense to me.
Sure.
That we're making this happen. So there you have it in a nutshell. That
is
communication, mastery, and creativity.
And I have to tell you, I have a very specific personal connection to carnelian.
Oh my God.
Right? So having carnelian be that card that comes up in the future is so good. And when we think about, too, that second chakra energy, not only do I see that as creativity, I see it as family.
Yes.
And how, whether or not we are blessed to have great families of origin or families that we've created or whatever, notwithstanding, when we come together as a community of diviners, we are family. Mm-hmm. And that is a thing. And that was something I was even hearing at the end of StaarCon 2021, people feeling like they had found their family.
Yes.
And so whether we're able to gather online, in person, however that's going to be for each individual based on their circumstances, it will be a family gathering.
Beautiful.
That's a wonderful thing. So I thank you so much for sharing that with us. Now, you mentioned collecting your crystals. Obviously, there's a lot of ways to do that. And we'll have vendors at StaarCon 2022 who will be happy to help you do that. But pretty much any New Age shop will sell those beautiful tumbled stones. You can also order them online.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of us have some hanging around. So we could even take the ones that we have and repurpose them to become the beginning of that personal oracle. Is that right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I did. I had a handful of my favorites, and that's just it. You're going to collect initially what you're drawn to,
Mm-hmm.
and you start to learn, or you maybe already know about them. I've already used this crystal as a healing crystal. And then over time, I learned so much about crystals. I had no idea, all the different things they can do. I mean, in some respects, I would say in that every crystal kind of feels a little bit like it can do everything. It can heal, it can promote love or what have you. Remember Forrest Gump? He just happened to be everywhere. He invented the
Right.
smiley. The crystals seem to be kind of a Forrest Gump in that
Right.
respect.
Right.
But they do have very specific, particular energies to them. And what a fun way to learn about them. And for some people, it may start out as divination, and then you begin to incorporate it into your Reiki healing. Another fun thing that I've done in a lot of my tarot workshops is we pull the cards, we have a layout, we have our spread, we do the reading, and then we enhance it by tossing the crystals on top.
Right on top of the cards.
Yeah.
That is an amazing thing. That is fabulous. And so as we look toward StaarCon 2022, I don't know if you noticed this, but in last week's newsletter, Tarot Topics newsletter, I did tell people to get ready for your charm casting workshop.
Yes, thank you. Yeah.
So do you want to just share a tiny little snippet of what you'll be doing?
Oh, yeah. It's similar in a way because, and what's fun about this, again, it's an oracle that you can create yourself. And it's comprised of little numerous tiny charms that are put together. I will have like about 25 sample kits that people can use in the class that we do, but you don't have to use those. You can start collecting your charms now. And in a very similar way to what we just talked about with the crystals, you'll assign meanings to them. Mm-hmm. And then just toss them out and read them again in a very similar way. So it's kind of odd because like sometimes I'll have those available when I'm doing psychic fairs and people are like, what? But what I have found is that some people will be like, what's this? I want to find out all about it. And they are starting to gain momentum, like Carrie Paris with all her amazing versions of it. There are quite a few people that are doing this. So let's make it a thing.
Absolutely. And so while you're saying, well, gee, what can I do to get ready for StaarCon 2022? Go to the junk drawer, go to your broken jewelry box, go to all those places where you have fun little things that were too cool to throw away, but you didn't know what to do with them. Gather them into one place. Now we're going to have something to do with them.
Yeah. Yeah, it started years ago on Eclectic Tarot Forum. A group of us just said, hey, what if we collected little doodads from our junk drawer? We called it a junk oracle initially, but that sort of doesn't have a really fun connotation.
So, Mary Ellen Collins, how can people get in touch with you and how can they learn more about you?
Okay, well, I actually have an old website and a new website, Tarot by Mary Ellen. They're both live, so you can find me either way. I'm trying to move towards the one that's not on WordPress, but they're both good. I'm also just launching a business page on Facebook, Blue Haven Connections. Mm-hmm. And that's where you're going to see any of my blogs. If you join that, as a page, you'll see any of my most recent blogs coming through. I'm on Insta at Mary_Ellen_Collins. And I don't know if I should even say Twitter because there's like 9 tweets, but I'm I'm going to get out there. It's time for me to start tweeting at Mary Ellen 0128.
And you have a blog post coming out about exactly what we just talked about
It's going to be in a day or so. It's going to literally be a written form of what I described to you.
Mm.
So if you connect with that, it's going to be easier to follow. I like to hear it, but I love to see it too. So if you're one of those, then, find my blog and read about it. And if you have any questions, my contact information is there.
And give us that URL once again.
It's tarotbymaryellen.com.
Beautiful, beautiful. Mary Ellen Collins, I want to thank you so much for being our guest today, for your amazing teachings, and for being such an important part of the StaarCon community. I should mention that you are actually part of our constellation. That is our group of people who work behind the scenes to make this happen, the decision makers, the committee, if you will, of StaarCon planners. And so we're really, without you, there probably would be no StaarCon. So we're very grateful. I mean, you and I were talking about this years and years and years before it happened, right?
We did.
So we're very, very grateful.
Energy of conferences. I kept, I'd come back from another conference and be like, we got to do this. I didn't have to do anything other than that. You made the whole thing happen. And now here we are looking at another beautiful conference.
Here we are, and we will be putting you to work at the in-person event.
I can't wait.
We have some tasks for you beyond teaching. And so for everyone, tickets will be available soon. Go to the website. It's StaarCon.com. Remember, that's 2 A's, StaarCon.com. Right now, this minute, what you'll see is the countdown clock and the ability to sign up for the StaarCon mailing list. So if you're not getting the StaarCon newsletter, please sign up. But very, very soon, you will have the ability to get your tickets. And so make sure you do, whether it's online or in person. We want to see you in 2022 at StaarCon.
Thanks for joining us for StaarCast. For more information about our annual conference, visit us online at StaarCon.com. That's StaarCon.com. We are looking forward to seeing you in January.